Hello and welcome to the in-news series of Drishti IAS. I am Pooja Dwivedi, and in this segment today we are going to talk about South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, that is SAARC. This topic is important from the perspective of prelims and also from the perspective of GS mains papers. Let's begin with the topics of discussion that we are going to look at step by step. Starting with the news, we will cover all these subtopics in detail. So let's begin with the news. This topic is in the news because the foreign minister level meeting of SAARC has recently been cancelled because Pakistan wanted Taliban in the midst of the entire members of SAARC, and that has caused Nepal to call off the meeting as Nepal was set to host this meeting. Let's move forward and talk about the current scenario. So, this meeting has been cancelled because the member states were unable to agree upon the participation of Afghanistan. That means bringing Taliban to the table was not concurred upon by many countries in SAARC. And previously, an empty chair was as a token of inclusion used to be there because Pakistan did not want the representative from the Ashraf Ghani government to attend the meeting of SAARC. But now it has said that it wants the Taliban representative on the table. Now India, along with many countries, are not actually having any sort of inclination towards Taliban. They have not acknowledged Taliban. And Taliban we have discussed about, that is why I left that topic. Nepal was set to host this meeting, and it wasn't an official document that was sent to India. It was a non-verbal document that Nepal has cancelled the meeting because no concurrence was reached at. So the important thing we discuss over here is, why did the countries object to it? First reason is that including Taliban in Afghanistan, including Taliban as a representative of the country of Afghanistan will mean legitimizing the status of Taliban. That means that many countries saying yes to the presence of Taliban will acknowledge and give legitimacy to their right to power and right to govern Afghanistan, because many members of the declared government of Taliban in Afghanistan, they are listed as terrorists by the United Nations. And even if those who are not designated as terrorists, they are affiliated with them in the government itself. And if you remember, recently at Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the Prime Minister of India has declared that the Taliban government is a non-inclusive government, and giving it any sorts of legitimacy will definitely give boost to the overspilling of terrorist activities, also the smuggling of drugs, weaponization of areas and human trafficking, as well as counterfeiting of currency. And all the countries of SAARC are actually aware of the threats which are arising from Afghanistan. So that is the entire issue. Let's move forward and talk about SAARC. If I want to talk about the background of SAARC, it is as I'm talking. So SAARC was formed at the height of the Cold War, when in 1979 Russia invaded Afghanistan. The security as well as trade in the South Asian region rapidly started deteriorating, and it was called out to the members of South Asia that we need to have a cooperation or a grouping in order to boost peace in the region, security in the region, and commonality in the region. So a meeting at Colombia happened in 1981. Pakistan and India were quite skeptical of the formation of SAARC, but it was eventually through the help of SAARC Charter in Dhaka, it was formed on 8th December 1985. And the founding countries were Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan as well. So they said that we are going to formulate a grouping, but Afghanistan was not there. Afghanistan was admitted in the year 2007. In the year 2005, it applied for membership of SAARC, but there was a clarion of skepticism because of the nascency of democracy in Afghanistan, and then also Pakistan, because of the forcible nature of Pakistan back then. Afghanistan was finally admitted in 2007, and now Afghanistan has become the latest entrant, the 8th entrant. So the principle is governed by sovereign equality, territorial integrity, political independence, and non-interference in the internal working of the countries. Tell me, where is Taliban fitting according to the principle of SARG? Political independence. It of course does not have any sort of independence because it is getting lot of support from Pakistan. So the polity is not independent. Also, sovereign equality. Is there any sort of equality in Afghanistan right now? When we talk about gender discrimination, when we talk about the medieval times punishment Taliban is again resorting to, and what about territorial integrity? It is trying to intrude into many areas which doesn't belong to it legitimately, and it is using violence. So tell me, where is Taliban fitting over here? Why should Taliban be called at the table? Again, if we talk about areas of cooperation, there are many. Not only one area was designated as an area of cooperation, but many. Human resource development and tourism, agriculture and rural development, environment, natural disaster and biotechnology, economic, trade and finance, and social affairs. Can you please tell me in the comment segment the names of observers of SAARC, the names of countries which are observer in SAARC? Moving ahead. Now, SAARC has 3 principal organs: the meeting of heads of state or government, which happens generally annually, and standing committee of foreign secretaries, which look into the matters with respect to clearing of financial projects and its implementation as well, and the secretariat, which was established in the year 1987 at Kathmandu, Nepal. Now this actually coordinates and standardizes the implementation of different projects. Okay, moving forward, let's talk about the significance of SAARC from the perspective of India. Primacy to the country's immediate neighbor. India is a benevolent power in the region. India needs to play the role of a big brother in the region, and that is why SAARC is very important. Generally, if we talk about, SAARC has the 3% of the entire world area, land area, and 21% of the population. Approximately this level of population and this level of land area is very important for cooperation, and it's very significant from a general perspective. Geostrategic significance. Geostrategic significance of SAARC with respect to One Belt, One Road initiative of China. As we already have an organization which is working multi-sectorally, and if we harness the specialized bodies into those regions, of course, it will be a counterbalance, and not one single project can claim any sort of neo-imperialism in the region. Regional stability, as it was formulated at the height of Cold War, security is of utmost importance and stability is also important. Global leadership role for India. India, if it is able to have proper implementation of projects and proper diplomatic channels to thrive through SAARC, then of course, in the global arena, it can also do the same. Game changer for India's Act East policy and From Look East policy, we move towards the Act East policy. Act East means as we were looking east, we have absorbed and analyzed everything that is right and wrong with the East, and accordingly we are acting. So it includes many countries such as Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka. So it can of course be a regional grouping which can, through its specialized bodies, help in the implementation of Act East policy. Moving forward, let's talk about this is something I just introduced for you to remember. So these are the different countries, the members of SAARC. Okay. Moving forward, let's talk about the challenges. Biggest challenge is low frequency of meetings, and that too gets overshadowed by the trampled on India-Pakistan relation. India-Pakistan relationship, if I must say, the relationship is looming large over the different other objectives of the meeting, and that is why frequency of meetings are low, and whatever they are unable to achieve anything significant because of the looming large of the deterioration of relationship between India and Pakistan. Broad area of cooperation is not there. First, broad area of cooperation is there in the charter and everything is there, but there is a paradox of too many choices. So many choices are there to work on that focus on one area is not as significant as it should be. Limitation of SAFTA. SAFTA is a free trade agreement which is confined only to goods, and services are not taken. In fact, India is a king of service sector. So that is also another challenge, that it is not going beyond goods. Way forward is, as the countries of SAARC have a common history, shared history, common culture, common dietary habits, common dresses, but they are not able to balance it. So we should look at the commonalities and not the differences. First way forward is that. Before that, I would like to tell you some bilateral meetings should also happen between India and Pakistan, and even with Pakistan and other countries and India and other countries of the SAARC, in order to have a common view and perspective when we talk about Taliban. Taliban, until and unless it becomes an inclusive democratic government, it will be against the principles of any democratic grouping to include it. And because it will embolden other terrorist groups in order to usurp power with violence, then regulate through specialized bodies. There are so many specialized bodies of SAARC, such as the South Asian University, which provides degree like of the same universities in every other country. This is in India. We have the dispute resolution authorities with respect to SAARC in Pakistan to have a proper approach towards solving disputes. And also many other bodies are there which can be harnessed in order to have proper achievement of goals. These are some way forward that we are looking at. Let's look towards the mains-based question. Okay. In the contemporary times, analyze the relevance of the SAARC in 250 words. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.